Hello, good afternoon and welcome to WBS Afternoon Edition. I am Anita Mwangazi. Police has arrested 12 youths of Eritrean origin suspected to have entered Uganda illegally and also having involvement in illegal activity. These were picked from Red Sea Guest House in Old Kampala, and according to police, they suspect them to be involved in activities relating to terrorism. In their rooms, they found them possessing marijuana and bangi.
Nani? Hello. You come. You come. Hello, find the girl, find the girl.
Guys who were arrested in Sanji, and some escaped in the forest. So some of them were arrested, and the ones who led us here. And so far, things they have said they are not connecting. So we want to establish by checking one by one his case. If he finds it is because so far there are some have made statements which are not clear, are contradicting.
Abantu abo kirabika kusinzira ebiwandiiko bye balina ebimu balabika balimu obuyeekera. Abantu abo emmotoka be bayimiriziddwa abamu basobodde okudduka ne bayingira ekitoogo era tukyabanoonya naye abalala mukaaga abo bo tubalina ku Nsanji Division.
The president of Burundi, Pierre Nkurunziza, has won the 2014 Abeto Africa Peace Award. The award was presented to President Nkurunziza in Bujumbura at a colorful ceremony attended by ministers, the judiciary, and members of parliament.
Which I pray to God that you continue.
In his citation, Abeto chairman Moses Musana credited Pierre Nkurunziza with bringing peace and stability to the war-torn Burundi, which is now beginning on the path of economic growth.
We'll move with you on your campaign trail the remaining time, because in Uganda it was given to all the presidential candidates, and President Museveni emerged the winner. So it is a replica here in Burundi that there is no doubt the peace-making president will emerge. We phone President Nkurunziza, you have been tested, and you deserve this award. It is therefore my singular pleasure and privilege to bestow upon His Excellency President Pierre Nkurunziza the Abeto Africa Peace Award 2014. Your Excellency.
In his acceptance speech, President Nkurunziza noted that the restoration of peace in Burundi has built the confidence of international community and the people of Burundi.
To date, we are happy to realize that the last phase of the peace process is the making in Burundi with the setting up of the Truth and the Reconciliation Commission, which will allow Burundians to know the truth about their painful past, to eventually reconcile and write a new chapter which will inspire future generations.
The Uganda-based Always Be Tolerant organization was formed in response to the Commonwealth Appeal in Harare in 1995 for tolerance and peaceful coexistence.
Abeto's Africa Peace Awardees include the late President of the Republic of South Africa, Dr. Nelson Mandela, late President of the Republic of Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, President Salva Kiir of South Sudan, and the President of Ethiopia, His Excellency Girma Wolde Georges. Today in this list, ladies and gentlemen, a distinguished addition is being made, and that is of a most recognized peacemaker,
President of the Republic of Burundi, for his tireless effort to bring peace to Burundi, a freedom fighter, peacemaker, and the hope for Burundi people. Your Excellency.
Residents of Chikondo village in Bokakata sub-county Masaka district have stormed the office of the resident district commissioner requesting him to intervene and stop colleagues who own private forests from encroaching on public forests. The residents allege that private forest owners in their area capitalize on this advantage of being close to the public ones to illegally cut down trees which they sell off for firewood and burning charcoal.
Nachukumira ebbanga lya myaka aga kisobola okuyimirirawo n'ebiti bino okubeeramu nze nabikuuma nabagobamu nga basaayeewo nimbagaana okukusaawawo.
Eno landi eno eri saidi eno engeri oluwenda gye luyitira wano kati bano bannannyini bibanja bamanyi nti balina obuvunaanyizibwa ku byo n'okubikola nga byo byagala n'olwekyo bakikola tebagenderedde.
Ground we found that the local people have cut down trees. Then some people are cutting trees inside the forest for firewood purposes and wood and timber. Therefore, they are really disrupting the ecosystem. So, with the NFA team, they also have to improve on their supervision.
WBS Afternoon Edition continues shortly. Do stay with us. Welcome back to WBS Afternoon Edition. The Iraqi government forces and their allied militia have entered parts of Tikrit as they continue a major offensive to recapture the strategic city from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Government troops and Shia volunteer fighters from Popular Mobilization Forces are now reportedly stationed in the main streets of the city as they started to advance towards Al-Qadisiyah Street.
Numbers that would be needed to be able to announce that they have taken the city back. Part of this is because of the explosives that have been laid by ISIL. This has been a stronghold for many months, and among their tactics, which we've seen very clearly here over the past couple of days, is that there are explosives laid along key roads, approaches, and in buildings. In fact, one of the bridges was blown up, which is slowing the advance of some factions of those Iraqi troops backed by Shia militias. But it does seem to be entirely clear that they do have ISIL on the defensive now in Tikrit. There have been fighters leaving Absolutely, and one of the things that officials here are focused on as well is what happened as those Shia militia members and Iraqi troops go further into the city and in the surrounding areas. We're already hearing reports of destruction of villages in the fighting, either in terms of revenge or just as a consequence of the fierce fighting between Iraqi forces and the Shia militias and ISIL. There is huge potential here to deepen the sectarian rift, and that's something that everyone is concerned about. U.S.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has offered a splash of regret at a news conference for having used private email exclusively during her nearly 4 years as Secretary of State. Clinton noted that it is a government employee's responsibility to determine what's personal and what's work-related.
Former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was at the UN to speak on women's issues. But the big draw was outside the event. The media descended in throngs to hear her explanation for using a personal email account for official business while Secretary of State. Speaking about the issue for the first time, Secretary Clinton insisted she broke no rules.
When I got to work as Secretary of State, I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed by the State Department, because I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of two.
The State Department says it asked all former secretaries of state to hand over any official emails on personal accounts last October, after more stringent guidelines on the use of personal emails had come into effect. Secretary Clinton wasn't the only one to use a personal email account. So did her predecessor, former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Colin Powell.
He used a personal email account during his tenure as Secretary of State. He did not take any hard copies of emails with him when he left office, and has no record of the emails with the account he used having been closed for a number of years.
Mrs. Clinton, a Democrat who's expected to run for president in 2016, handed over 55,000 pages of emails. And a committee investigating Clinton's handling of the attack on the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi, Libya, that left 4 Americans dead, has received some 300 related emails. But that isn't satisfying her Republican critics, who question her lack of transparency. The Secretary of State has enormous responsibility and jurisdiction, said the chairman of the Select Committee on Benghazi, Trey Gowdy. The public, the media, and Congress have a legal right to access these public records without impediment. They want her to provide access to her private email server. Secretary Clinton says that she's happy to make her official emails, but not her server, public.
We now cross over to Colombia, where their armed forces will halt bombing raids against FARC rebels for 1 month. President Juan Manuel Santos said in recognition of the unilateral ceasefire declared by the guerrillas, who are now in peace talks with government.
I have decided to order the Defense Ministry and the leaders of the armed forces to cease bombardments over FARC camps for 1 month.
A surprise move by a president who had been steadfast in saying that the war would continue until a full agreement was signed. But tangible results in the negotiations seem to have convinced him to change his mind. Back in December, the FARC announced a unilateral indefinite ceasefire, putting an end to their attacks on towns and infrastructure. Now comes this limited reduction in hostilities, which will be subject to review in a month. Another step towards reducing the impact of the conflict while negotiations continue in Cuba.
That's all we had for you for WBS Afternoon Edition, but stay tuned. This NCK Mizanyo will be coming right up next with all of the latest in sports. I am Anita Mwangazi. Good afternoon.